Hello, welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan. I'll be with you for the next hour hanging out. We've got some news. Don't tell anyone, but I might go in through the producer's letter a little early, just a couple hours early. That's the thing. I have to make a judgment call here in about the next 5 minutes. You'll join me on this, though. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. We have a lot happening in the Lord of the Rings Online right now. This is your final weekend to run the Midsummer Festival. That runs until 3 a.m. on the 15th. So this will be your final weekend to get all your rewards, do the things you need to do. Still plenty of time to do it. You can get in multiple dailies before it's done at this point. You can find our guide over on Lotra.com. This is an extension that we did of the Midsummer Festival due to some of the initial issues we had with the new Furtherholm instance space. So we gave people a little extra time. So I believe this may be the longest Midsummer ever. So hopefully you got done what you needed to get done. But if not, you do have this weekend to do it. Or if you're just hearing my voice now and is like, oh yeah, I wanted to check that out, you've got all weekend to check it out. Plenty of time to even pick up some rewards, I think, by the end of it. Because we got some stuff just, was it last week or 2 weeks ago when I was in there, and I only played for like 20 minutes. So give us the tea. Well, I'm drinking coffee, but good enough. I that's the probably the main bit of news for the weekend is that this is the final weekend for Midsummer and the final weekend to pick up our Loyal Knight Patrons coffer. I will be donning that coffer a little bit later on in the show as we go through some combat, but not right away because I'm still in the summer mood. And looking ahead to next week's work, it looks like we are mostly wrapping up our 64-bit to 64-bit server transfers. The Forester crafting event kicks off on Tuesday. That'll be the 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then on Thursday, the 17th, we have the Buried Treasure event kicking off at 10 a.m. Eastern. Now, we don't have a Bull Roar set for next week. This past week's Bull Roar is, from my understanding, perhaps the final Bull Roar for Update 45, and that being because perhaps we may be in a position to release Update 45 sometime around July 23rd. Now, give or take a little bit on that yet, but that's the tentative plan, is to get U45 out the door before the end of the month, tentatively something like not next week, but perhaps the week after. So that's where we currently sit on the short-term development timeline. And otherwise, I would just say that we have some other announcements that we went through this week. Oh, one more bonus for this week. We do have a Loot Box Embers Moots Boost. Loot Box Embers and Moats Boost. 10%. Try saying 10% Loot Box Embers and Moats Boost fast. And that is through July 13th as well. And I had one other bit of news from the week. So we did release word this week that we are going to be disabling character creation on our 32-bit game worlds. This is part of the process to make sure that as many people as possible get off of the 32-bit game worlds before they close on August 31st. They will be coming back as Dark Worlds in the future to transfer from, but all gameplay should be happening on our 64-bit worlds. We do have free transfers available. Everyone here already knows that. But if you're just hearing my voice, you have time. Make sure you transfer your characters before August 31st is up. And we're going to be disabling character creation on our 32-bit game worlds at 9 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday, July 30th. So end of the last Wednesday of this month, we're going to be disabling character creation on 32-bit game worlds. This is to facilitate getting people off there so that they're not sticking around, so that we can make sure we capture all the data that needs to be captured, right? It's just a whole bunch of reasons why we're doing it, but it's something to be aware of, particularly if you have yet to transfer off and you maybe want some bank characters. So make those bank characters if you need to or want to. Before 9 a.m., which is basically when we bring the game worlds down for our Wednesday maintenance work on July 30th. We are extending the deed for the leading the charge deed on Treebeard. This is for the level cap 130 instance deeds. We're extending it until 3 a.m. Eastern on August 25th. Now, Treebeard is also one of those worlds where everyone needs to get off of by August 31st. So the wisdom of allowing this leading the charge deed to continue until 3 a.m. Eastern on August 25th was something we had to talk about. But we also know that Treebeard is a relatively smaller population at this point, and there's still some people specifically who are like, no, we need to get this done. Can you just give us a little more time? So we're giving you a little more time. You do have until August 31st to get off Treebeard, but we are extending that leading the charge deed really until, about a week before it closes as a result. I also have a little bit of news about Angmar and Mordor, our next update. We had tentatively, in an earlier version of the public event schedule, I think it might actually even still be there, that we're looking at something like the end of July to release Angmar and Mordor to level 75. Now that is adjusting. So that's going to be now happening on August 13th. On August 13th, we are going to be increasing the level cap of Angmar and Mordor to 75. This will be the debut of Isengard and the Great River. And we'll have more information about what that means for Vale of the Nine. Not just when that happens, but also a little bit before that I can't say right now. There might be some things happening on Angmar and Mordor in the next couple of weeks that you may discover. So. I would also note, in terms of development stuff here, that we are working with Update 45. I don't know if we're going to make it in time for the release of Update 45, but one of the things that has been on our mind to do is improve the guidance about PvMP on our website. Yes, Loacher.com is getting a PvMP guide. It's a big topic, and one that I was talking with Orion about yesterday, because Orion is doing a bunch of the initial writing work, and then I'm taking over on the marketing side, and we'll get it all out the door eventually. But really, the goal is not to make you an expert PvMP player, because I think that is perhaps outside of the scope of this guide, and also something that takes player skill and time, and there's a lot of good guides already in the community. So really what our focus is, because there already are plenty of great resources to learn about PvMP, but we want to get people to those resources is essentially our goal. Because we know that there are a lot of people, maybe not, well, there are some number of people out there who are like going to see what we got coming on in Update 45 and beyond and the PvMP zone. We're going to be like, yeah, okay, well, that sounds awesome. Let me check that out. Who maybe are not currently PvMP players, or maybe haven't been, or are not typically. And we need to find a way to get those people in. We want them to play with you. We want them to have a good time with you, and we want you to have a good time playing with them. So one of the things that we're working on is really, you could call it like an onboarding. Here's how you get started in PvMP. Here's how you find it. Here's how you make that character. Here's what Freep and Creep mean. Then here's how Siege and other bits are going to work with the towers and everything else. So it's really a long-standing task that has been on our plate for a long time. It's a pretty dented can, let's put it that way. But we are, especially with Update 45 and subsequent updates here, going to be doing some work on PvMP. There is no better time than now to do this work. So that's something that is also on Orion in my mind, and work that's being done in the coming weeks. Speaking of PvMP, though, before I leave that topic, Orion had we have a cave troll yesterday on Twitch. You can find the past broadcast right now on Twitch. And then last night I got an updated version on YouTube. There was a few kind of audio issues during the show that I was able to correct in post-production. And then I also did the work to just sort of trim up the show so it doesn't have the coming soon and things like that. But that's all up on YouTube right now, and is probably the better audio version to listen to if you don't care either way. But that's there, and Orion really goes deep into the PvMP work that he and others are doing in addition to a lot more of the philosophy of what are we trying to do here on PvMP. We, you know that we're trying to work to fix problems and bring in a whole lot of people, and you've seen bits of that, like an earlier iteration of Siege. And Orion really gets into a lot of the details about that. I would also point out that that video is probably the one to watch if you want to learn about the current state of class decision making in that as well, because I know Orion also did take questions from Twitch chat about Hunter and Burglar and Captain, I believe, as well. So, a few bits there. You can find that on YouTube. You can find that right here on Twitch. Part of this, though, with this PvMP guide that I'm talking about, is that we have a new Monster Player reward track happening. Our second Monster Play reward track is going to hit sometime soon here. I don't have actual dating on its start at the moment. But because we gave it a prototype last time and people seem to dig it, we're bringing it back in a fixed up way. I think it's going to take longer for one thing, but also have better rewards and things now that we kind of proof of concepted it out. Well, that's going to be happening here along with all this other PvMP related work. So, all right, it's 13 minutes in. I have not yet gotten to the letter to the players. This is by design. Plausible deniability, people. Why did? Oh, yeah. All right. What else should I say? I'm looking at my schedule here before we get to it. I think I pretty well have the news covered beyond that. So let's get to the good stuff. I should note, I'm doing this. Here's the story about the letter to the players from Orion. It's set to go live this afternoon. By the time this video gets processed on YouTube, there is a very good chance it'll already be published. All the text is fine. The only thing we have yet to do, and the reason I'm doing it, showing you the text doc rather than any kind of presentation with imagery, is because we have to work on our bullet point image. You know how we do on our letter to from Orion, we do these bullet points for the quarter. We have just there's still a little bit of localization and processing work to do, and someone else is doing that work as we speak. But once I pop that into the article's ready to publish. So by the time you see this on YouTube, it's probably already been published, and it's going to be this, except it's going to have pictures. A couple of them. One and two in particular of note. So let's just get a little bit to the letter from Orion then, and since it's going to be out here later today. Hello from the Lord of the Rings Online team. This is not my voice. I am reading Orion, by the way. This was a group-developed letter, just like they usually are. Even though they get penned from Orion or Severlin, or I don't think I've ever had my name on it, but I've certainly had my hand in the writing of it for many years now. Not so much this one. It usually starts with just content created by Orion specifically, and then the rest of the team gets to provide its input in that, because this is a statement on behalf of the development team, not just from Orion, but from all of us to you about what the heck we're up to. So, hello from the Lord of the Rings Online team. We're halfway through 2025. We hope you're enjoying things. Our 18th anniversary has come and gone. Update 45 includes a number of changes specific to Monster Play. We've discussed already about this. What we're working to do is alter the gameplay in the Yettenmoors by providing fluid events to influence and tip the scale of battle. We're adding more mechanics in the form of rewards for taking and holding towers, new relics and buff, and a new area called the Underseats, accessible by controlling a forward camp on the landscape of the Yettenmoors, and new vendors with buffs available once you take control of outposts. This is one of the largest changes ever made to the gameplay flow of the Yettenmoors. He says in several years. That's because Orion was been with us long enough to know some of that initial work that happened way, way, way back. And that was probably bigger. But this is a big change because we're really looking to shake things up in PvMP, address some longstanding performance and other issues, and really build a foundation of hopefully very exciting development in the PvMP space. So we had a bull roar of that not that long ago, and I think yesterday's We Have a Cave Troll is pretty close to required watching if you're into the PvMP side of our game. Update 45 also extends the birding hobby introduced last year further into the game world. New regions are available for bird watchers to practice their hobby, and new rewards are available to make your home more cozy. So we have got a ton of new birds being added to that collections panel, is long and short of it. And in that little space where you're seeing right now is going to be a picture of some of the new housing wall paintings that you'll be able to pick up as rewards for it. And they're really wall hangings of really nice, detailed looking birds. And they look sweet. And it's going to be a cool image that you'll see in a couple hours. Sadly, due to some unforeseen difficulties arising from the changes we're making to the kinship system, and we will get into that later in this letter, we had to push out the release of changes to fishing until update 47. So fishing is now going to be a early 2026 improvement. We do, however, want to give you some insight into what we're going to be doing. It's called trap fishing. The idea is you'll be able to lay traps at waterways across the game world, leave them for a time, and return to discover a massive catch. And so, pretty significant update to fishing there, and that'll be coming in early 2026. Speaking of kinships, though, the ultimately the conflict in work is what prompted the following here. Here we go. A modifiable kinship calendar arriving between the release of Update 45 and the expansion pack. So this is not arriving with U45 itself. This is going to have to be in a point update afterwards. But it'll be out for the expansion is the goal. This feature will provide kinship leaders and those with proper privileges the ability to create and maintain events with descriptions, sign-up lists, and more. This is the first of many updates we're hoping to make to the kinship system over the course of the next year and beyond. We're going to have more info as it gets closer to release. You'll see it on Bull Roar and elsewhere. But that's a biggie. And we had talked earlier and in previous letters about some of the foundational work that we had to spend real development time on earlier this year to get ready to do this, because there's a lot of foundational work with kinships that just had to get either created or polished or fixed or whatever in order for this to be able to be possible. But it's not only possible, but it's coming, and it'll be here soon, and that should be very exciting. Hopefully you'll dig it quite a bit. We're also working on a new use for embers. Embers gained through endgame content will now be able to be used to purchase new tracery upgrade scrolls from barter vendors offering incomparable top-level gear at locations throughout the game. The tracery upgrade scroll will allow you to upgrade a tracery of any rarity to the next rarity. The scroll will cost 7,500 embers and will need to be used within 24 hours of acquisition, so it's going to have a countdown to use it. In addition to the new tracery upgrade scroll, tomes of defense are available from the same barter vendors. They're going to have a much smaller ember cost for a single tome and 1,000 embers for 4 tomes. Work on the next expansion pack is happening. We're able to state that it'll have 4 new zones, 10 new levels, a full instance cluster, a new raid, hundreds of new quests, missions, and deeds accompanying the next chapter of the Song of Waves and Wind for the game. So that's the level of detail we can provide about the X-Spec, but that's some numbers. Ultimately, not entirely unexpected. That's basically about what our expansion packs are in size these days, but we are confirming some of the details about what'll be in it, including a 10 level cap increase. And then we got our roadmap here that I have in text form for you because we don't have the graphic yet. This is being uploaded as we speak. But Q3 here is the Hunter Burglar hobby updates, birding, reward update, farmers fair, monster play, reward track, new relics, new rewards, new vendors. Q4 is the expansion, level cap increased to 160, 4 new zones, instance cluster raid, hundreds of new quests and deeds, dozens of new missions. And then Q1 2026 is going to be that fishing update, other kind of hobby work, and a refresh of the featured instance system, among other things. And I think that is the extent of the news in the letter from Ryan. So, there we are. I have sort of deliberately been not looking at chat, and just because so I don't get too distracted while going through the letter. But let's take a minute to do that now. Are we getting a stable master at Furtherholm? Yes. My understanding is it might be one of those boat dealios. It's going to be a dock master. But yes. You feel like you're going to forget that you have laid traps. Well, I believe part of the systems work would be to have a method to. I mean, it's not just place them and come back, although that's the core of it. But I think there is some supporting work to assist in that regard to help you know where you placed them. The 3 fastest forms of communication are telephone, telegraph, and telelotrophan. I like that. It's pretty fun. I don't think that's true, though. I certainly know telegraph is not the fastest way. Having sent an actual telegraph in the past few years, I can assure you it is not that quick. Are the teleport animations sold in the Lotro store? No. They are. I don't think so, right? They've typically been a function of our patrons' coffers, and those are available in the Lotro store. But as a separate a la carte item, I don't think we do, right? I'm not quite sure what you mean, Charissa. Mariners will be able to sail to Furtherholm. Furtherholm is sort of it's an event space, right? So it's a holiday event space that's associated with Midsummer, and as such, it's similar to Winterholm, and then it's its own kind of separate location. So the idea of traveling direct to Winterholm is no more possible than doing Furtherholm. But no, in general, they're meant to not be available all the time. You know, it's one of those things where we kind of want you to get excited during seasonal events and log in and play and check out the space that you have missed because it's been gone for a little while. All right. I think, gosh, I expected more questions. Either I shocked everyone and they're trying to figure out what all this means, or it was actually clear and no one's got any questions. They're like, "Yep, sounds good." All right, well let's head in game then. Let me make sure I've got my audio up and I'm not quite dressed for the occasion. It's dark. It wasn't dark when I started this live stream, but it's dark now. Let me go. I am finishing. Well, not finishing, but I'm working through Crown of Hamat right now on the live gameplay. And I had most recently been in Furtherholm. I will wear the Loyal Knight Patron's Coffer shortly, but I kind of wanted to wear my swimming outfit during a big battle with Gondor for reasons I don't need to explain.
They will fear our blades this day. The Barhoshim will not live to see the breaking of the skies and dawn's light tomorrow.
Oh, except I have a fishing pole equipped. Gosh. Glad I noticed that one. That would be very like me to enter a battle with the fishing pole, wouldn't it? At least I didn't do that on stream, almost. Not quite. That could have ended badly, yes. I mean, you know, I am wearing a swimming outfit riding into battle here, so I guess you could have said I had it coming. Is there an update on the quote missing item issue? So if you have an open ticket with CS, you'll need to work with CS on resolving that ticket. You said a shared item transfer yesterday didn't, quote, fix anything for me. And by that, I assume you have looked at your shared storage, not kinship escrow, but shared storage on both your origin and destination worlds. If that is true, then it sounds like you'll need to reply to your CS ticket and let them know that your issue has not been resolved, and they'll need to figure out why and sort through it. But the work has been done to return items to their original worlds. So, and because of the way it's returned, it doesn't always go back into kinship escrow. But it doesn't even matter. You don't even need to log in or anything. All you need to do is do a shared items transfer from your former origin world to your new current destination world. And the work has, for most people, resolved that issue. And then outstanding cases are being dealt with on a case-by-case basis by CS. We also happen to know that we had a couple of them recently, and that was on 64-bit transfers specifically. And those outstanding tickets are being dealt with in the queue as well. We have an engineer working to do just what we just did, which is to identify the items and the characters, automatically put that stuff back, and then let the impacted people. In this case, so far the numbers don't appear to be big enough to need a mass thing, because we're looking at 5 or 6 people. But you'll be doing that shared items transfer as well. Oh, you're right. Do I have my... You're right, I do have my cosmetic fishing pole. So I'm hitting them with the... Well, that's fine. That's working.
No.
What did I say? I said as soon as I started my live stream, we'd finally figure out where my cat has been hiding. And I am correct. I mean, to be fair, though, it really would hurt to get whipped by a fishing pole, I'm gonna have to assume. I mean, that's gonna cause actual morale damage. Maybe not quite an accurate amount. But in the right hands, this fishing pole is a deadly weapon.
This cat is cool.
Did I re-equip my offhand? Of course not. Why would I do that? I'm wearing a swimsuit and wielding a fishing pole. No, I forgot to put my offhand on. I almost entered this battle with the fishing pole equipped. Where is my offhand? I don't even see it here. Hope I didn't sell it. That would also be something I would have done. I think I'm gonna have to deal with this off camera. Figure out what I did with my buyback. So Solus wants to basically know when we're getting to Scouring of the Shire and such, and that's not really a question that I can answer. The other part of the question is, how do we feel about providing our own story rather than sticking just to the book itself? And that's something we've always worked to try to do in proper measure, which is to say, especially now that the ring has been destroyed, and in recent years it has given us opportunity to tell our own stories and go to places that are certainly in the books, but are give us more creative opportunity to tell some of our own stories, like the Song of Waves and Wind and things like that. So we always try to balance that, even when we're telling our own stories, that we do it within as much appropriate context to the setting and lore and story that Tolkien does that we can. When we don't hit that mark, we're happy to hear from you about it. But I think in general, it's what drives us and is a big part of what we do. So. But that doesn't mean we know that there are still big parts of the story yet to go. If you look, and there are some people on the team who could speak far more eloquently than I to this question of timeline in particular, which is to say that we are nowhere near the point of the story that the Scouring of the Shire takes place. So that's not to say we couldn't fast forward, or we couldn't do it anyway, or we won't get there. But that is to say that in terms of the actual where are we right now in the game versus where the Scouring of the Shire takes place, we have some time yet. I don't see us chasing a whole new age. I think we have more than enough story to tell where we are right now. Oh, is this my dagger? No, that's a ceremonial sword. I think, what did I have? Oh. Yeah, I think I sold my offhand. That is exactly what I did. I sold my offhand. I'm going to have to go to a vendor and pick that up off camera. That's what I get for trying to manage my inventory. Yeah. I think to the question of where we go long term, that's going to come not from me, say, on a live stream, but from things like letters from Orion and Severlin and other things like that. We've been telling a story of the Song of Waves and Wind for a while, and if you think of Corsairs of Umbar as part 1 and Legacy of Morgoth as part 2, then you know, it may be worth considering that this is part 3. So, I don't know, I can't spoil, there's certain things I don't want to spoil, I can't spoil things, right? So, but, momentous events could be taking place in our next expansion. And part of those momentous events will play a big part of Song of Waves and Wind and tell the story that we're telling. But so to the point of, well, are we going to get back to formal Tolkien text? Yeah, we will, for sure. But for a little while now, we have been telling our story arc through Corsairs of Umbar, Legacy and Morgoth, and then coming soon, our next expansion. What level will the 4 returning hobbits be when they get back? Well, I mean, we definitely know that they in a formal sense, totally leveled up through their journey and everything, because they think of all the athletic and other skills they picked up and ability to handle combat. You know, the Peregrine of that left Bree was most certainly the Peregrine in skill nor battle that he became. So they totally leveled up. I think, to the extent that we would get there, they would be probably considered to be a similar level to the player, I would think, or more powerful than that. But, you know, so if we get there and we're level 200, then I would say they're probably going to be somewhere around 200. Wouldn't they? Yeah. Now, in terms of actual XP, though, I'm assuming they don't actually do that much farming, and they're certainly not there in landscapes like we are. So that is going to impact their XP gain. I'm just saying, but they make up for it in skill. So they get free Valars. I think you raise a very good point, Erebani, which is that, you know, there's a sense that if the Scouring of the Shire is really the finality of the book, then once we reach the finality of the book, it really is an indicator that we have, in some ways, told the story of Tolkien's trilogy. And so I think in the same way that when we debuted Mordor and had the ring drop, it is a very significant milestone in the overall history and development of this game. But you're also totally right that if we're already able to tell our own stories within Tolkien's world and you are satisfied with that, there is no reason we couldn't simply continue to tell stories well beyond the Scouring of the Shire. I think some of the nature of that story would have to change, but then there's also opportunity to go any place you want to go, right? So I really don't think there's a world where we have to end. Heat Death of the Sun.
We must
That'll
quickly
probably
ascend
do it.
the tower of Koranzar. Okiso must not escape what justice demands.
Why do I have cosmetic equipped? I'm not seeing. I am not seeing that fishing pole equipped. Why am I seeing? No. I really know quite what to make of that. I'm on a fishing pole issue, aren't I? Weird. Okay. Oh, is it offhand? No. See if that solves it. Minus the fishing pole thing here, this is the new Loyal Knight Patron Coffer outfit that I am wearing, so... I think, you know, it's been a while since we've said it, but I think it is true that it is going to be a while before we would really have a desire on the part of the development team to hit the scouring of the Shire. We're not there yet by any means in terms of our own storytelling and in terms of where we are in the timeline of the game. So, we'll see. Also, I mean, I think from a development perspective too, there's certainly opportunity in the story, because if it was a large group battle, then you could certainly be part of that. But there would also be a case to be made for, well, if it's really the hobbits doing most of the stuff here, then maybe it should be like session play with hobbits or something. And there's a lot of discussion that could certainly be had about that. What we actually end up doing, I guess we'll see. So, but where'd you go? Pinkle Coffin Redemption Arc. Okay, you've had that same fishing pole bug. I bet it's because I don't have an offhand equipped is what the problem is. I bet if I equip my offhand again, this problem goes away. I think I'm caught up on chat. Oh, speaking of taking hobbits to things, I did want to give a shout out to Burke Black and crew for their really awesome event last Sunday. You did good, and wow, did you pull in the eyeballs? I don't know how many Lotro players are aware, but there was a Twitch stream where they did their third and final and first successful, basically, walk into Mordor, and they killed themselves by dropping in lava. But they did it, and it took 3 years, 3 attempts, and it happened this past weekend on Twitch, and a lot of people were involved, in part due to some of the names involved in the Twitch community. And it was a fun enough time and a big enough event that it pulled in a pretty big article from a PC magazine. So PC Magazine wrote a big article, and that article ended up getting spread out all over the place, all the gamer sites and everything like that. So Lotro has been in the news this week because of this event that happened last Sunday, and it's been pretty sweet to see. I kicked back Black Burke a bunch of titles for event winner to celebrate the occasion, but it was just their event, not my event, and it was pretty cool. So. Yep, have to do it again next year. Forgot the ring. It's a good time. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know, Sola 67, when you start getting into timelines of who did what for how long, it's kind of hard to know, but we're certainly up there in terms of a very long-running MMO, so... Well, it's go time. Okay. It's true, Irabani, other people have done this walk before. This was really just a fun social event. A bunch of streamers and Lotro players, longtime Lotro players who have been enjoying the game and doing it as a group. And because it ends up getting momentum and eyeballs and things, these walks tend to attract a fairly large crowd. Not just the people partaking in the walk, but people who show up to help defend the people taking the walk. So, while you're right, this is certainly not like the first time this has ever been done in Lotro. It was just a particularly big one, a particularly fun one, and a third time's the charm one. And that has been an event now for 3 years, and is going to be a fourth one next year. So, it doesn't have to be unique, is the answer.
We must put these fires out and save as many as we can! A curse upon Okisu. He could not even die with dignity. Instead, stubbornly trying to take half of Kuranzar with him! Okisu, seeking to divert my attention, has set Kuranzar aflame. That was not enough to stay my blade. But now the city needs
Oh, it was
to
Burke's birthday as well?
put out the
Awesome.
fires and rescue
Well, what a great
citizens
birthday
and
present then.
Kuranzar.
Awesome stream. Gotta be one of the biggest streams that they've done in a while. I don't know their numbers, but I know the numbers were real big. Tell you that much. It's true, we're pretty good at putting out fires. Well, I've got metal boots, so that helps. I mean, you think it would kind of be ouchy on the feet, but I guess not. You know, we've been through stuff. We've been hiking in those boots a long time. We probably developed some real calluses there. So... Yes, I am currently fighting with a fishing rod. This is true. I need to sort through some things. That's what I get for going from further home into back to Chronohamon without checking my inventory, nor my equipped outfit or gear prior to going live. Yeah, well, I don't know what I did with my offhand. That's the main question. I think I sold it. I don't know. I had it last time I was in battle, and then I went fishing and stuff, and now it's gone. So that much I can tell you. Guess we're gonna have to find out, and maybe hopefully not have to get me a new offhand. But I don't need to do that on the show. I could solve my embarrassing mistakes on my own time. Oh. Someone's giving... Oh, thank you. Thank you. The Lotro community coming through. Thank you. Still wielding a fishing pole, but that's okay. It just looks like a fishing pole.
We've done it! There is still much to do, and a great many battles still to be won. But I have learned we must savor the wine of victory when it is proffered.
Alright. Trying to remind people of their opportunity to save. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how I solve this problem. Maybe just equip a different cosmetic offhand would be my guess, maybe. But I'll deal with that when the time is right. Dismount. No? Oh, here we go. I need to lock that offhand the next time I fish. I know. Well, see, I mean, part of the reason is I'm not going fishing a ton. So I found myself just suddenly fishing in Furtherhome, did I not? And I was like, oh, right. You have to worry about these things. On the other hand, using a fishing pole as a weapon is so on brand for Stampion, the champion. Is it a bug? Is it? Is it really?
This valley belongs to the Shagani, and no one else.
What say you, traveler?
Something you can do for me? Absolutely. Get the word out. Monuri will not be beat. Cannot be beat on these prices or quality. Okay, so we're basically setting up shop, or checking in, see how all the merchants are doing.
Travel with care, friend. Dangers are all about.
This valley belongs to the Shagani, and no one else.
They seem to be
This
doing
valley
well and
belongs
setting
to
up
the
their
Shagani,
shop.
and no one else.
Yeah, part of the reason I'm doing this rather than Furtherhome today is that if I get too wrapped up in just the moment events, you get into this position where I'm in, where I'm a little behind on the story content in terms of the stream. So I wanted to be up to date in time for update 45 and everything else that's happening here with the expansion too. So that's why we're doing Crown of Hamad. But it does have the advantage of, I also want to be sensitive not to spoil things too much right when new content is released on the show, because a lot of people will turn into this show not because of me or my gameplay, but because of the news and things. And so I want people who are focused is like, well, I want the news, but I don't want to see what the new thing looks like, you know, or what happens in particular. So it's not a bad thing necessarily that the story part of, say, like Crown of Hamat takes place on my Friday show after the point by which a lot of players have already seen it. This is in some ways meant to get just viewers or others kind of into the content as well. But it does mean that I'm a little, frankly, behind on the content right now. So I wanted to focus on that during the stream and get some stuff done, which I think we actually did here. And I even spoke about the letter to the players and everything. We spent not that long gaming and got some stuff done here today. It's true that I have not really been on Angmar. My priorities have been elsewhere because of all of our servers and transfers and everything else that I've been having to do. So, I don't know is the answer.
I would ask you for your company in a personal matter, friend.
Life has most certainly kept this person busy for the past 6 months. I know we have some level of crossover with Dungeons & Dragons Online and the Lord of the Rings Online, and I did want to point out, for any LOTRO players who maybe over the years have created a Dungeons & Dragons Online account as well, I wanted to let you know that our server transfers on that game side start on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And so if you wonder, in part, why... Oops, I'm in the PvP section rather than where I need to be. Let me clear things out. Actually, probably do something else, since I think we're wrapping up the show here anyway. I will deal with gathering these flowers and that elsewhere, off camera. Right. Yeah, I think that is what we're going to do. I think I'm going to wrap up the show here. Thank you so much for watching Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream if you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate you giving us a like. It's the easiest way for us to get a little help from you to spread the word about this game and this show. I'll be back next Friday with more. We'll probably continue the journey of Crown of Hamat here and have any news related to Update 45 and beyond. Oh, you know what? I actually do know when I'm next going to be on Angmar. Now that I just said that I didn't know, I actually do know. It'll be within a few weeks here because of something that I'm not talking about yet. That's going to be happening on the Veil of the Nine Worlds. So that's when I'll be on Angmar. Probably the next couple of weeks. But I'll be back here next Saturday, or next Friday. Hope you have a great weekend, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.